All right, everybody, Economic Ninja here. I want to talk about steel prices, and we're going to use the lumber industry as an example of what you guys should be looking at towards the future or what you may want to be doing today. Now, this isn't financial advice. Everybody has their own personal situations. Some people are buying steel because they own a company that needs steel. Some people need steel because they have projects around the house, or people that want to build their dream home, right? And they're wondering, should I buy lumber? If lumber's so high, should I go with steel? Well, the bummer is steel has also seen a massive increase in prices, and I'm going to go over a story here that just came out from fortune.com, and I'm going to link it in the description below. But really remember, prices ran up, and they didn't run up as much as lumber, but people are all of a sudden starting to look at steel as a great alternative to building. Now, I am in the building industry. I do love building with steel. I don't do it a lot because I'm not a welder by trade. The cost can be pretty high with using steel, but man, it's so nice. They have such beautiful finishes these days, and the construction is just rock solid when you're dealing with steel as opposed to lumber. Well, now we're starting to see lumber fall. So let's go over this story, and then we're going to talk about the parallels between the two industries, okay? And then at the end, I'm going to talk about what you should do, because I'm getting a lot of people asking, should I wait for my project or should I go for it now, okay? So it says right here, steel prices are up 200%. When will the bubble pop? It says the benchmark price for hot rolled steel hit another all-time high last week, climbing to $1,825. Now, this story came out on the 8th of July. Prior to the pandemic, it traded between $500 and $800 range, okay? So 200% is nowhere near the climb we saw in lumber. So it says, they give an example. What do refrigerators, air conditioning units, and new cars have in common? They're all seeing prices spike, right? While manufacturers grapple with a worsening shortage of key component, steel. Since March 2020, steel prices are up a staggering 215%. I know a lot of you lumber people right now are going, that's nothing. The benchmark price hit another all-time high, hitting $1,800. This is what's going on. During the early months of 2020, shutdowns many steel mills shut off production in fear that they're headed into a deep recession, all right? Now, we know that narrative, right? But check this out. I'm going to Google this right now in real time. And we're going to check out the prices of steel futures, right? Now, this is just a super quick overview. Right now we're at 1,800, so it's come down just a little bit. In the story it says 1,825, right? But let's look at a little bit longer of a chart. The chart right now shows a steady increase right now of the price of steel. So it hasn't done what's happening and I'm going to show it to you guys in the camera right here. Let's see if you can see it, right? Constant steady. It's a one-year chart. So you're looking at that chart and you're going, oh my gosh, what's going on with steel? Well, obviously steel is used in so many different applications, right? Like I was saying before, the car industry, things like that. And it's not seeing that sharp drop off like we have seen in lumber futures, right? And those, we're getting all kinds of amazing comments in the lumber videos, and maybe I'll link one of those lumber videos below so you can see the comments. People already seeing the prices of the physical lumber in the last 2 weeks drop literally multiple times a week in Home Depot and Lowe's. Okay, so they're seeing that in lumber. You're not seeing it yet in steel. There's some good news. There is a day where it will drop. The reason why, you cannot deny supply-demand dynamics. When there's no demand, even if you have low supply, if there's no demand, the price is going to drop, okay? If you have a ton of supply and no demand, the price is going to drop like a rock. Okay, and right now we still have a lot of supply because industries are driving the price up because they need the product to try and get all the cars out to you. Well, guess what? We're about to experience, and we're already seeing it crack, a credit bubble popping. All right, there's a balloon right now, and someone's poking all these tiny little microscopic pinholes in the credit bubble. And what's happening is it needs more and more credit going inside of it, more liquidity, to be able to deal with all of the amount of air that's escaping. One of those pinpricks is the Wells Fargo credit lines being shut down. It doesn't sound like a big deal to some people, but it really is, because what it means is X amount of credit has now been wiped away. So those people that used to have that much money, the ability to take that money using debt and to funnel it into projects, investments, all kinds of things, they're no longer able to do that. So the pinpricks are getting bigger and bigger. The balloon is starting to deflate faster and faster until we get to a point at which we have a very serious crisis on our hands, right? I quite frankly believe that's coming soon. I believe within the next 12 months, you're going to see something quite magnanimous in the markets that needs some central bank or government intervention. All right, now with that being said, I don't want to get off too much of a tangent. People are telling me, what do I do? Do I wait for my project? I'm going to tell you right now, I believe that patience is key, that not everything lasts forever. Everything, including steel, does this, okay? We've seen steel go up before. We haven't seen it go up necessarily this much. I'm sure if you guys look in the past, let me see how far this chart goes back, you'll see that actually steel goes through massive fluctuations. We're gonna go with an all chart on this. Let's see how far back we go. This chart only goes back to 2011, but what's something that's really interesting I wanna note is back in 2015, this is actually the same time we saw, this is a great thing. You'll see back here, 2015, see that little hump right there? All right, at that time, I knew that the economy was going through some very serious issues. Costs were inflating, banks were having issues, they didn't want to lend to each other, and this was the time when the Federal Reserve decided, hey, we're gonna start raising interest rates. And that was around December of 2015 at the end of the year. Well, in the middle of that year, the cost of 2x4, the lumber's future, actually doubled. I think it went from $250 to $500 for 1,000 board feet. Don't quote me on that. I'm just literally going off my memory. And also, futures of steel went from approximately $600 to about $940 for cold rolled steel. So that was literally almost doubling, right? So it doubled in lumber and it almost doubled in steel. So, and then look what happened. It collapsed from the 950 all the way back down to under what it originally was, $500. So that is a perfect example of what you're experiencing here. So what you're experiencing, if you see that hump right there where it almost doubled and then it retraced back, it even below what it was, now you're seeing this. And there's a lot of despair with a lot of people and they're freaking out. What I want to tell you is not everything lasts forever. They had an emu mania, people, in the past. Go look it up. They've had ostrich mania. Most of you are like, that's the same thing. No, it's not. It's a really big difference. And if you're an ostrich guy, you'd be ticked because you'd know the difference. Put the difference in the comments below. There's also a tulip bulb mania. Guys, there was also this thing called a housing mania that a lot of people forget. From 2002, that was really early, that's when I started, to 2006. A mania. How did that work out? Well, all the house prices went up high and then they went way low. And guess what? It's about to happen again. Now, it's not going to happen tomorrow. These things take some time. I started telling everyone when lumber futures were $1,260, I believe, back in April. I want to say it was April 14th. Don't worry, lumber prices will collapse by my best guess midsummer because people are going to care more about food inflation and fuel inflation, because yes, it is transitory, but it's leading to a much bigger problem. They all laughed at me when it went from 1,200 to 1,700, said you're still nuts. I said, don't worry, you're still wrong. We'll see. Now we're way, way below the 1,200. We're at, what, $800 for 1,000 board feet. And guess what, guys? It's going to keep going down because supply is increasing, demand is collapsing, because people now are getting the picture. And trust me, people pretty soon are going to go to Lowe's and Home Depot, and this is going to happen with steel. And as it's dropping, they're going to go, whoa, wait a minute. It's dropping, and I'm stoked. But I've seen it drop like for 2 weeks in a row. I might want to hold off and see what happens next week. And it's going to be a cascading event, a self-fulfilling prophecy. All right, guys, I hope you guys got something out of this. If you did, please throw a subscribe in, throw a thumbs up in, share the video on Facebook, because everyone knows those are the people that need to be woke up the most. With that being said, the Economic Ninja is out.